got a really strong chance?
I think the feeling to be a favorite doesn't help that much.
Really?
I think it's better to stay.
Yeah.
Well, you said to me last month, you said to me you like to chase, you don't like to be in the lead.
Well, that's exactly the same, right? We try to be humble, we try to stay on the ground and be like that there's a lot of girls that are still having super good skills on that boat. We've been good at that regatta, but this is a new one. It's definitely candy because we have no pressure for these worlds. With the title, we are financially safer. But still, it's sailing, and I think in sailing you're never good when you're thinking how great you are.
You know, maybe in life you're never that good when you think how great. For some people it works, some people it doesn't. But what do you think about that? I mean, we talked to a lot of different people after I spoke to you. Do you like to lead or do you like to follow? Most people say I'd rather be in the front. It's scarier, but I'd rather be in the front looking back and defending than attacking. But not you guys.
Not us. I don't know what to say. It's just like different style. What you don't like.
I think we should really talk to these people that like to defend, because I think in that moment when you go out and you're in defending mode, like I completely forget about the sailing and I forget about how to be best at the top mark. So we will have to learn these skills probably, and we should talk to those people. I have no idea. We like to attack.
Maybe you just haven't been at the front for enough time. Maybe that's it.
Thank you.
Susan, talk about setup here though. We're in the open ocean. Going down, have a lot of breeze, but we should have some swell even. There's always a lot more lump here than in a place like Kiel. How does that change your sailing technique and setup?
We were like, I think in the beginning we were quite struggling with the waves.
1.5 years, at least, yeah. And that's ages.
Years we haven't sailed in waves.
So it changed the whole game again. It's a new place, regatta. What I just said in the beginning, it's to what we're used to from Kiel, so it's a completely different story.
Well, good luck, girls. Thank you so much for joining us on our Adidas morning show. And next up, and you can watch them. Tell me the Facebook page again. Lutz Boyka Racing.
It's Tina minus Sani minus sailing on Facebook. Follow us.
It's a fun page. I followed you, and you guys are always putting some interesting stuff up. So thanks very much, guys. All right, take it easy. And next up, we brought a whole team here. And we go from Germany to Holland. And we've got a whole team here. And I don't even know what to do with these girls. There's so many of them. How are you doing, everybody? And why don't you guys all get to this side here. And we'll let Marcus know if he can press together a little bit. It's a really wide camera, so maybe. God, there's a lot of girls here. And you're mostly blonde. So we've got Annemiek and Jessica, Judith and Cecile, and Dewey and Marieke and Marike. You're Marika.
Yes.
All right. This way more? So I guess who did best at Europeans? Annemiek and Cecile. Yeah. Okay. So Annemiek, now this squad, you've told me even in things up a lot, and everyone has new crew now. Like you've done the full switch. Can you explain why you do that and how that affects your team?
Well, we try to change as much as possible also in the training, so we can learn a lot from each other, and it keeps it interesting. And everybody has his own specialty, so it's really good to sail with different crews. And we also swap a bit with crewing and helming. And we were sailing in Kiel, and this week I'll be sailing with Jessica. So yeah, I think it's good for the team.
All right. Well, it certainly seems like as a team, the Dutch. You said that each person has their own special skill. What's your special skill? Tell me your full name and what's your special skill?
I think a little bit more than medium winds, a little consistent wind, so you don't have to go in and out the boat all the time.
More finesse?
Yeah.
How about you? What's your? Tell me your full name and what's your skill?
My name is Judith Engbert. I think my skill as a helm right now is just speed in like a bit the average medium wind. So I think just the steering, like the really precise work.
Okay, speed and average wind. All right. And Annemiek, what's your skill? What's your superpower?
Experience.
That's an important superpower. And how about you, Cecile?
Commitment, maybe.
Commitment.
Just hard work and pushing it.
Sending it. All right. How about you?
Well, I like to be invisible.
What's your name again? You're Dewey?
I'm Jessica. No, I'm Jessica.
Yeah,
No, I think actually for me it's strategy. I really like racing. Yeah.
And how about you? What's your superpower?
Marika, my superpower is, difficult one. I've been told a cat in the boat.
You're the agile one, the light air, in and out, in and out. All right. So who does the waves? Whose superpower is dealing with the big waves? The whole team, yeah. But I'll ask you, Annemiek, and I just asked Tina and Sani. You guys don't sail in big waves very frequently. I mean, you've got the North Sea, you've got you do the stuff around the Baltic, but you're not training in a big wave environment. How does that affect you, and are you ready for the waves? Are you guys prepared for that?
Well, we've been training at home in Scheveningen, so we did have some waves there, and we had a training camp here of 10 days, so we did have some practice. But I think most of all, we really like the big waves, the surfing, and it's just adapting every day and making the best of it.
What do you think of Portugal?
Portugal is very nice. Although we had a lot of fog, but we like it here. Yeah, it's good.
So that's really interesting. That's one way to approach teamwork, and I think you don't find that a lot amongst the other teams. I think the GBR toy with it occasionally, but nobody really mixes it up like you do. Now, when you're out on the course, maybe in a year's time, can you be too close to each other when it comes down to getting the spot for the Olympics? What do you think?
I haven't been in this spot really because I'm from the 470 where we just have fixed teams. So I think
that makes a better thing, a better comparison then. Like, what do you think about this compared to that?
I think at the moment it's very good because you can learn from each other, and that's where we are right now. And I don't think for once, haven't really thought about 3 years yet because I'm still learning a lot. And I think that's how you maybe should see it, step by step.
And now you guys have already been to, you were in Rio, right? Together? No, Annemiek, you were. Yeah. With? Annette. She's not here. So then, I mean, Annemiek, I'll ask you again. I'm sorry to keep going back to you, but your superpower is experience. So, how does it work after a year and a half when time comes down to really be competing against each other rather than friends?
Well, I think what Marika said, like, this is a moment to learn a lot. And after the Worlds, we also we won't keep swapping all the time, but we'll definitely keep this system up. And then we'll look for the next 3 years, but we don't have decided yet exactly how we'll do it.
Will you all still be friends?
Yeah. Sure.
All right, great. Thank you so much for joining us, girls, and step on out of here. We got one more guest for you this morning. Before we talk about that guest, we do want to send you over to 49er.org. Check out the big Adidas sailing hyperlink in the top of the screen. Order your awesome branded gear, just like these shirts, great jackets, hats, everything else. Adidas makes really nice stuff, especially some of the dinghy gear. I wore their Farmer John wetsuit, and it's awesome. It's really special. And we love their gear. So Adidas, thank you for helping us to make this live show possible. And head over to Facebook as well at Adidas Sailing and let them know you appreciate their support of the 49er class. Also, I got a new watch this morning, and I'm loving it. This is our Spinnaker watch, special edition 49er limited edition watch. And there are only a few left, I understand, but I think you can order them from the 49er.org as well. They got engraving of the 49er. And pretty tough so far. I've been beating this thing up for the better part of a couple days. So.
And if you want to win a chance at $200 off your next Spinnaker watch, you can head over to their Instagram page. They just put a photo of this interview online there, and if you follow their instructions there, you can get eligible for winning one of your own. And
that's Instagram at Spinnaker-watches or just Spinnaker watches, do you know?
One of the two, yeah.
All right, check it out, Instagram, Spinnaker Watches, and thanks for them. This is Ben Remocker, Canadian Olympic 49er sailor, and now the manager of the class. So you've been on both sides of the pile, as it were. This has got to be one of the most frustrating things about any regatta is 2 days sitting around, nothing to do. No one. It's not like this is a multi-class, social regatta where everyone can just drink it away. These are athletes, and what do they? I mean, what do they do?
Well, even at the end of the regatta, there might be more drinking at the beginning. There's certainly none. These guys have trained all year and thought all year about this regatta. Some of the guys have come in for multiple training camps here. And, the fight. They've geared up for this, getting their weights right, getting their mentality right, and to have a couple days lost to no conditions. It's a shame, but they'll get through it. But
It's funny too because this stretch of coast from sort of Galicia down to the point at Cape St. Vincent, it's got a pretty good reputation as having those the Portuguese trade winds all summer long, nice northwesterlies, and here we're sitting in just a fog bank for days.
We were here 2 years ago and had epic conditions, big rolling waves, 12 to 20 knots almost every day, and sunshine. So, every place has bad weather.
You take your bets. You place your bets. You do the best you can. And I think, 5 out of 7 days, this place works pretty well. But we got the 2 bad ones so far. We'll see how it goes. If you haven't seen it yet, head over to 49er. We're actually just scroll down from watching this on Facebook. We just put up 4 minutes with our race officer, David Campbell-James, talking about these conditions and what happens to these fleets if we have to move things around. But not that things don't change much. They just get more compressed, basically. So why I wanted to grab you is that you are the encyclopedia when it comes to this class. I got to know some of these guys up in Kiel, but obviously there's some new people in town and some people back. And we'll start with the FX girls. The Germans in 1st and 3rd in Kiel, doing very, very well with, I don't remember who was second. Was it Annemiek? I don't remember. Yeah, Charlotte and, yeah.
Dobson and
Yeah. Are they here? I haven't seen that. Yeah, they are.
Yeah, everyone's here. Everyone's here. Everyone's here.
Yeah, they have to be, right?
They're here, and that's what makes this competition so great this time. We've got, for the first time, the 4 teams who were tied going into the medal race in Rio, having a rematch. The girls have been scooped up by all the Volvo teams now, but they're all still back. And it's not. I'm not saying it's grudge match because obviously winning a gold is the one that matters. But yeah, like all 4 of those teams are going to be thinking about that day when they go into racing against each other and looking to do better.
And if it's anything like Germany, I mean, probably those 4 and probably 6 more really have a shot at winning this thing. I mean, the parity in the FX fleet is really high.
Especially now, most of those 4 Olympic teams who are in the fight for the gold didn't train as hard as some of the other teams, and that's why I would still rate Martine Grail and Kaina Kunz as the favorites right now. But Charlotte Dobson and Saskia Tidy, they worked really hard all winter, and I'd put them as second favorite above the other 3 teams who have taken more time off.
And you can't. I mean, you really can't count out Tina and Sani as well. Like they were animals at the end of that Kiel. Like they just came on so strong and so hard, and they love to chase. So.
And Annemiek there with Jeske Kisters. Annemiek's in contention every regatta she's in, so for sure I think they're going to be in contention. While we're going to have qualifying and then finals and maybe even still medal racing here, a 4-day regatta to get from 55 boats in the FX down to the top 3 and from 80 boats in the 49er down to the top 3, that really that'll change the pecking order a little bit. Many more teams will have a better chance at popping up and having a good few days rather than having to have a good whole week. Sure. So it evens the odds out even more. And some teams, they may not like having to wait around, but they probably should like it statistically.
Look, yes, exactly. The less racing you get, the better chance you have if you're not that perennial favorite. Who in the is going to jump out at you as coming in from the outside here? Who's new enough and good enough that they have a chance of knocking on that top 5 or 10? Anybody?
Well, that we haven't talked about, the Japanese team, Hite. They went to the last Olympics, but never really featured, and we saw them 6th in Europeans. And from what I've been
winning a day or two, I mean, really solid performance.
Really solid performance across all wind conditions. And I'm speaking with their coaches. They've got a really strong program gearing up for 2020. They could have a chance to do even better, even though it was a bit of a surprise last time. But they've been working hard all winter too.
Well, and they were unbelievable, and they're really light. And then they held it in the moderate to heavy, but it was their lighter performance in Germany that really worked. And if we keep this stuff, then that might really play into their hands. Let's move over to the men's here, so we can get out and see what's going on in the water, see if anything is improving. It's not, but the men's, we saw the American Chris Rass, the super experienced guy, do it really poorly because he had to leave and go have a new baby.
Yeah, we don't blame him.
But at that test event, I think he won it or got 3rd. He was
coaches regatta?
Yeah, the Aarhus one.
Oh, the
Aarhus, yeah. So they had a super solid performance. Similar thing happened in the FXs with Stephanie and Maggie, who had a poor performance at their first regatta at Euros, and then they got 3rd at the test event. Obviously not a huge event, but at least I see Americans doing well, which makes me happy, and see a guy like Rass with a new baby at 45 years, I mean, my age, basically doing so well. That's pretty cool.
that is pretty cool. You know, congrats to Chris. Chris and I trained together when we were going, when I was racing, and you know, awesome guy to have in the fleet, and congratulations to him. I think his wife and baby came home from the hospital. Born a little bit earlier than he expected, and you know, everything's fine.
He's back on the road.
So we're thrilled for that, and to have a guy like that in the fleet. But while the Aarhus test regatta was going on, don't forget that wasn't a test for the sailors. That was a test for the operations. There was a coaches regatta with almost, and one of my favorites to win the European.
Your Poles.
The Poles, Lucas and Powell.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, it's a super deep fleet in 49er. I'm not saying it guarantees anything, but while people
Been singing the Polish song for a while now.
it's gonna happen, and they won the practice the coaches regatta, which was like 3 days of 5 races a day. But you know, the coaches set good race. They could be informed. It doesn't really mean anything, but they're certainly gunning for it. Along with you know, we got the 2 British teams who were 1st and 3rd at the Europeans, and then back fleet are Eric Heil and Thomas Plosel.
The German team.
The German team. They're the only medalists remaining in the fleet right now. They got the bronze medal in Rio. Thomas finished his his bachelor thesis recently, so they haven't been sailing, you know, super hard this winter, but they've been sailing for the last.
Now, Thomas did his university thesis on tension gauges for sailboats, and apparently he got a perfect grade. And now I hear that someone might be putting his stuff into production.
Yeah, he investigated all the different types of commercial tension gauges and all the different types of wire and how they applied in different conditions, and found they were terrible. And then invented a method he thinks will get rid of all that range and all that variation that people see in the equipment, and he's talking to some suppliers. I mean, the Germans know how to build precise machinery and equipment, so let's face it, you know, if he's got this thing figured out, he's a super smart puppy. Manufacturers out there, you can talk to the 49er class to get in touch with Plosel, or go to HP Sailing, their tag, and talk to him directly and snap that IP up.
Love it. All right, so we got the Poles, we got the British, we got the Germans. We got maybe some American action, maybe, hopefully. Raster, would love to see it. What about the Brazilians, right? We got different teams. One of them's got Robert Scheidt helming. Another one's got a Grail boy crewing. Who's gonna go, or is it gonna be Dante and Thomas Lobier?
Well, we've got the 3 teams. We've got a switch around. So last time Marco Grail helmed for Gabriel. And this time, Robert Scheidt, of course, come over. Gabriel's teamed up with him. And then we've got a Spaniard who's come across to Brazil to race with Marco, switching his crew. I don't know if you've met Marco, but he's built like you.
Yeah,
you know, he's plenty able to pull the ropes. I would love for Dante and Thomas to win, and they often contend for Gold Fleet, but they're not gonna, you know, they've got real jobs, so they're not gonna take the win. I'd love, you know, there's I think I said in my press release before the regatta, there's 60 teams here who think they can make the top 20 Gold Fleet, and with shortened qualifying, which we'll certainly have, they really can. It's all about how they sail on the day. I still expect one of the top 15 or so to those guys to fill the podium, but we've seen in shortened regattas. We had one of the 470 guys come over in 05 and almost won the Worlds in the Light Air Worlds, ended up 2nd. So, you know, there's tons, everyone in this fleet is a champion growing up. And they have the chance to pull out a good race here. Even the youngest Portuguese team, the Pires brothers, they were here 2 years ago when they were 17. They're 19 now. They won a race.
Well, that's actually what I want to talk to you about, is what locals, right? Because now you talk about, fine, the shortened racing favors maybe some of the not top teams in the world, but it also really could favor the locals.
It's just statistically it doesn't favor them, because the longer you go in a series, the skill comes out. But I guess what you're saying is the local conditions might work out. There's only one team from Porto here. The other 2 Portuguese teams are from Cascais, Lisbon area.
They would have sailed here growing up as well.
Tons. And we saw that in 2015. So George Lima and Jose Costa, the Olympians for the last 3 time cycles, with a little bit of blipping in and out with their competition, they were leading going into going through day 4 here in 2015. You know, and they know how to sail really well, especially in lighter conditions. So keep an eye out for them.
All right, great stuff, guys. That is our Adidas Morning Show. We're going to be bringing you this show every single morning this week. I think we might bring it up a little bit when we're going to have the live racing. But then Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, we'll have full afternoon of live racing for you with great action. I think we've got drones in the sky. We've got onboard cameras, all sorts of fun stuff. And it should be good. I think Friday, Saturday looking solid, at least according to CJ. So anyway, thank you very much. Please make sure to go smash that like button. Share this with your friends. Check out our Instagram page at 49er Sailing and our Twitter at 49er Sailing. And we will see you very, very soon.